Hey everyone, it's Andrew from the Dashcam Store. I hope you're having a good day. Up for review today, we've got the BlackVue DR550GW-2 channel. This is a Wi-Fi enabled dashcam, and we also have the PowerMagic Pro. It's a battery discharge prevention module, which is more or less a fancy term for a battery saver. And it does a little bit more than that. I'll explain more later. But first of all, I'm going to talk about the dashcam. So if you're unfamiliar with the BlackVue product line, I do encourage you to check it out. These are definitely some of the most technologically advanced dashcams on the market today. Aside from the DR550, which we're reviewing today, we also have the DR500, which is simply a single lens model of this exact setup here. The BlackVue product line is actually manufactured by a company called Pittasoft. They specialize in multimedia processing technology, video analytics, IP network cameras, and automotive image sensing. This company's been around since 2007, and they're starting to put out some really fancy stuff. I know you guys want to see what's in the box, so let's go ahead and have a look. So the unboxing of the DR550GW2 channel. Here we have the two lens elements. This is the front lens element, it's the main camera body. This is the rear lens element, or actually you have the flexibility to put this anywhere in your vehicle that you like. Inside the accessory box, which I'll open that up now, you can see we have a coaxial cable. This is the cable that's used to connect the two camera bodies. That's all you have to do to run between them, only a single cable. We also have a plug for your cigarette lighter outlet. We've got a little packet with some extra adhesive pads. We have cable clips to secure the cables that run across your windshield, and there's also a USB card reader. You can actually take the memory card out of the BlackVue, the main body here, plug it into this card reader, and then plug this card reader into your USB port on your computer to easily access your video files and whatnot that are on your memory card. One more thing in the accessory box is the user manual. Now, Pittasoft is actually unique in the fact that their user manuals are actually readable. This one's really nice. You're not going to have any problems understanding the English in this one. The diagrams are really cleanly laid out. I've read over this one, and like I said, you're not going to have any problems understanding how to use this one. It's really detailed. It's explaining how to run the wire. You won't have any problems here. Full color. This is explaining the software. We also have PDF copies of this manual online. Pittasoft did a good job making this into a nice readable PDF for both the 550GW and the PowerMagic. We have those online. Going back to the main camera body, let's go ahead and have a look at this thing. This would be the front. This is the part that looks out your vehicle. You can see the lens is actually underneath this really neat lens cover. I'll slide that to the side there. You can see what the lens looks like. Really sharp looking unit. I mean, this is really professional looking. It's no less than you would expect from any sort of consumer electronic device from Sony or Garmin. It's tastefully done. You can see the Pittasoft brand name there. You've got a record LED here. You have a GPS LED here. You've got a microphone input here, or the audio input goes in here. The camera body rotates, so you can stick this thing on your windshield at any angle and you can adjust it that way. On this side of the BlackVue, you have a Wi-Fi indicator. It'll tell you when your hotspot is active and producing a signal so you can connect to and view your videos. You'll see this lit up later, I'll show you. And also underneath this glass panel here is a touchless sensor to quickly turn on and off the audio recording. So if you're having a conversation in your vehicle, you don't want it to be recorded, you quickly just reach up and swipe your finger past this panel here. It'll notify you with voice. It'll say audio recording disabled, and then when you're ready to record audio again, swipe your finger past it again and your audio will be recorded again. On the right side here, you've got the power cable input and you have the coaxial cable input. So all your cables are on one side. It's really tastefully done here. There's a button. This activates your Wi-Fi, so you can easily turn your Wi-Fi on or off. And underneath this little panel here is where the memory card resides. So using your finger, you can pop that guy out. It's a micro SD card, and so the cameras come with either a 16 or 32 gigabyte card. It's spring loaded just like any micro SD card. Put it back in with your finger and wait for it to click, and you're good to go. So the camera is actually removable from the mount too. You might be asking me, well, if this is stick to my windshield, and I want to take the camera out of the car, it's no problem. There's actually a button on the front here. You can see it says lock on it. Well, when it's in your vehicle on the windshield, I'll take my index finger and depress the lock button. And then guess what? The camera just slides out. So this part stays attached to the windshield, and you can take this part and put it in your purse, put it in your pocket, and secure it away from the vehicle. And to put it back in, you just simply press it back in and it locks back into place. That's a really neat feature of this camera. So moving on to the second camera, you could refer to this as the rear camera, but I like to call this the remote camera due to the number of different ways that you could mount it. Typically, you would attach this to the rear windshield. You'd slide the adhesive pad around and stick it onto your rear windshield facing outwards. You can see the lens there. You could face it outwards, which would capture any action that happens behind your vehicle. You know, if somebody were to rear end you, it would definitely catch that on film. Or leaving it in the rear windshield, you could also rotate it around facing into the car, which would allow you to see what the driver of the vehicle is doing, capture any action that's inside the vehicle. And yet another option, move this onto the front windshield or a side piece of glass. You know, the options are endless to capture what's going on inside the vehicle. You could face it out the side if you wanted to, but that's why I like to call it the remote camera. So one thing that's really nice about this second remote camera is that it only has the one single input. This is connected to the main camera unit via that coaxial cable that I talked about earlier. You don't have to run a separate power cable or anything. It really makes installation a breeze because this thing only requires mounting with the adhesive pad and the single cable. So that's one thing that's really nice about this remote camera. And then on the back here, you have a really subtle LED. That's this little strip here. It lights up when the BlackVue is recording. That way, you know, it's not too bright or anything, but it's just a nice indicator that lets you know that this thing is working and providing video feed to the main unit for that second camera shot. So going back to the main camera body, what do you say we put some power on this guy and show you how it operates? I've already got my power plug plugged into a cigarette lighter outlet, and I'll go ahead and plug it into the power port now. You can see we have some LEDs that come on immediately to know we have power, and I'll wait until the voice confirmation lets me know that the unit is on.
BlackVue for your safe driving. Starting normal recording.
So that's really nice. You have some audio confirmations that let you know that the camera is on and recording. You see the LED starts to blink here. That lets me know that we're recording video. Over here on the left side is this touchless panel that I talked about earlier. You can see right now by default the audio is recording, and to turn the microphone off you just swipe your finger past it.
Audio recording disabled.
And that way you can have a quick phone call or whatever, swipe it back over here.
Starting audio recording.
And then also the Wi-Fi is not on by default, however you can set it to come on automatically, but if you want to turn it on manually, there's a button here. You just hit that.
Wi-Fi on.
And then you'll start to see the indicator come on over here as soon as that guy is ready. It blinks while the Wi-Fi module is turning itself on, and then once it becomes solid, that way it's providing a hotspot you can connect to it with your phone. And there we go. That's basically all there is to this one. The GPS LED will come on when you're outside, when it actually has a chance to acquire a GPS satellite signal, but right now since I'm inside, we don't have an LED for the GPS. So I've got the unit powered up here and on my desk, and I'm going to slide off the lens cover there and just show you how the Wi-Fi is working. So I've got my smartphone here. I have an Android phone in this example, but it's going to work the same for iPhone. Click on my BlackVue app that I've downloaded from the Play Store. You can also download this from the iTunes store. So you get a warning not to watch the video or configure the app while you're driving your car. Of course, that's just for safety. And I'll just hit search Wi-Fi over here. You can see that this is the base SSID that it puts out. Of course, you can configure this to be custom to your spec if you'd like. I'll go ahead and connect to that. The default password is BlackVue in lowercase. It's asking me if I want to keep the current Wi-Fi information. Of course I do. And then it gives you a warning that says your password is default and you need to change that. That's a great reminder, and it'll keep saying that as long as your password stays the default. So the first thing on the screen that you can see is a list of the files. These are video files that are actually on the dash cam right now. You can see that they're different colors. The colors correspond to the modes that they were recorded in. For green you have normal. You can see the key up here, N, E, and P. Green is normal mode, E is event mode, and P is parking mode. So N is normal mode when you're driving around, that's normal mode. E is event mode. It means that one of the G sensors, the level was exceeded, such as somebody hit you. Basically it's for somebody who hit you, then it will lock that file. And also P is parking mode recordings. That means that the camera has been stationary for some time, it automatically goes into parking mode, and those are the ones that are blue, or the parking mode ones. So the parking mode ones are basically events that happen that the motion detection has been triggered, like somebody was to walk in front of your vehicle or the vehicle was bumped somehow. That's a parking mode event. So you can sort these by whether they came from the front or the rear camera by selecting the tabs here. If I enable the rear, of course I don't have the rear camera attached, so there's nothing there. But if I turn the front, these are all from the front camera. Now the cool thing about the app that I think is so impressive is the live view. So I click this guy, and this is actually a real-time view of what's happening on the camera. So this is how you know how to configure how to aim it out your windshield and whatnot. And then also, if I had the rear camera attached, I would push this little icon here, and then it will switch to the rear output, and I'll actually show you guys that now. Okay, so now you can see we've got the remote camera installed. It's just the one coaxial cable, which makes the installation a breeze, like I said. This cable is it's at least 15 feet long, so you can run this remote camera pretty much anywhere in your vehicle. And like I said earlier, you see we have the LED. It's lit up now, and we're recording. Let me show you on my app again. We have our file list here. Let me go back to the live view, and from the front camera here, and also let me switch it to the rear camera here. So now you can see we have the rear camera. I can give you a view of the front camera, etc. So that's all there is to that. I really think that's really neat, being able to view the video from the app. That's one of the coolest things about the BlackVue setup here. So now I can show you, earlier I only had front videos, so let me turn off the fronts, and so now you can actually see we have some that they end with an R, and that means that it came from the rear camera. Turn the front ones back on, turn off the rear, and you can see the Fs. That means it's from the front camera. So they make it pretty easy to look at these here. So also on the app, you have the file list, as I said before. You've got internal storage, which means these are videos that I've actually copied onto my phone. I'll go back to home, BlackVue Wi-Fi. The way you copy the video onto your phone, let's say that you captured something interesting on video and you want to save it to your phone, you long press on the file that you want to save, and you say copy to internal storage. It copies it over to your phone. Also, there's external storage. See, I don't have a micro SD card on this phone, so it doesn't let me go to external storage, but if you did have an external storage micro SD card, that's where you would access those files. I'll go back to the Wi-Fi here. Live view, refresh, and then config here. This is where you get into the settings for the camera. You have app settings here, which is just for the application. Let me go back here, and then the firmware setting. This is where you set time zone, image resolution, parking mode sensitivity. So these are where you can set the amount of sensitivity for your G sensor, from sensitive to insensitive. It's really neat how much customization, you can set the sensors for each axis, for normal mode, parking, and motion detection as well, sensitivity there. So many options here. It's really a powerful app. Let me go back here. You can change the name of the Wi-Fi broadcast ID, which is what I mentioned earlier. If you don't want it to say DR550, you could say my BlackVue. You could set it to whatever you want to do. I'll cancel that. And then so in order to save the settings, you just hit quit after saving, or if you don't want to save the settings, quit without saving. Another cool thing is, let me go back to my internal storage. And so again, these are videos that I've actually copied onto my phone, so they reside here now instead of on the memory card here. So once they're onto your phone, you can long press it and you get another set of options. This is the coolest one, I think. You can actually send it directly to YouTube. That way you don't have to copy it to your computer or anything. You know, if it's really important to get it online, bam, you can go right there and send it up to YouTube, right to the internet. Also, the videos on the internal storage, if you give it a single click there, it actually just gives you the playback of the video, you can see. Okay, so I'd like to talk about the PowerMagic Pro for a bit. As I mentioned earlier, this is a battery discharge prevention module. What it does is basically hardwires into your vehicle and provides power to the BlackVue while your vehicle is off, but it will also keep your battery from dying. If the voltage gets too low in the battery, this thing will turn off the BlackVue. That way when you get back to your car, it has enough battery charge to start your car again. So let's go ahead and look inside. First thing I want to talk about is this instruction manual, which is pretty cut and dried, but it's very informative actually. It's got nice color pictures. It's all in English. You've got the PowerMagic Pro, the box itself. You've got the wiring harness. You've got some accessory mounting screws. These are optional, or you can mount it with this sticky pad, which will go onto the back of the device. So what exactly does the PowerMagic do? This is the module here. This plug connects to this harness, and on the back of the PowerMagic here you have the dip switches that allow you to set the time and voltage settings here. And this is the PowerMagic Pro. What differentiates this from just the normal PowerMagic is the Pro adds a multi-boot switch. This is actually an override switch, which allows you to turn off the PowerMagic if you want to have your BlackVue turned off when the vehicle's off. This is basically an override switch. Turn it off, and then when you turn your car off, the BlackVue itself will shut down. So if this is on, when you turn your vehicle off, this continues to supply power to the camera until either the voltage gets too low or the timer value is hit, whichever comes sooner. You can also set the timer to be never expiring, so it will record as long as the voltage is high enough. Looking at the wire harness, this is really nice. As I said before, this end goes into the PowerMagic module box. These three, which are marked down here, you can actually see that they are marked with the labels. This one goes to battery constant, this one goes to your switched power, and the black one, of course, is your ground. The ground one actually has a nice soldered end on it already. This one is where you actually plug in the existing cigarette lighter adapter that comes with the BlackVue, plug it into here. So you don't have to alter any of the wiring that comes with the existing BlackVue camera. You just simply plug it into here, and then it's fed power from the PowerMagic box directly. I'll just explain the dip switches a little bit more in detail here. So you have 5 dip switches. On would be down, and the default settings for these things means that the 2 on the left are for the voltage, and the 3 on the right are for the time settings. And let me just bring up the manual here, the last page of the manual. So you can see here, if you want to set it to cut off the power at 11.8 volts, you set the dip switches in this manner. If you want them to cut off at 12, set them here. This PowerMagic actually functions on 24 volt systems as well for you big rig drivers. You can also cut it off at 23.2 or 22.8. So it works for either 12 volt systems, which are most car systems, and 24 volt, which are most big rigs or diesel vehicles. Then on the timer settings, which are the 3 dip switches on the right, these 3 over here, you can set it to turn itself off after 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, all the way up to 120 hours, or if all 3 of the dip switches are set to on, the timer value never will cut off and it reverts back to strictly the voltage setting. So if you have a really strong battery, never dips below 12 volts, and you have this set to infinity, well then it's going to record until you turn it off. One more thing I'd like to point out about the BlackVue product line. Pittasoft actually makes a really nice software application that works on both Windows and Macintosh machines. That software application lets you view the video files and the GPS tracks from your BlackVue camera, so you can see where you've been, how fast you were going. It also displays the G-sensor readings and information such as that. The software application also acts as a configuration utility. You can change all the settings, such as the Wi-Fi broadcast ID, the password, all the sensitivity settings that I went over in the app can also be changed in the desktop application. We have a link to download the software on our website. You can also download it directly from BlackVue's website if you'd like to do that. And if you take the memory card and put it in your card reader, you can see a folder that actually has the software on it on the memory card, which is really convenient. I like that a lot. And we do have some screenshots of the software on our website on the product page itself. So some final thoughts on the BlackVue DR550GW 2-channel and the PowerMagic Pro. This is really a phenomenal dash cam. There's nothing else in the market that's offering as many features and the level of security that this one does. I actually have this in my personal vehicle. I love the fact that it covers almost all the way around my vehicle, and I know that I'm covered while I'm driving, and I know that my vehicle is protected while I'm not even in it. So the only bad thing I can say is at times the app might be a little tricky to connect to the BlackVue. Most of the times the issue is unrelated to the camera itself. It's simply because your phone might be connected to a different hotspot at the time, or you forgot to press the Wi-Fi button to turn on the network. But besides that, once you know the rules to connecting to it, it's really simple to use, it's really reliable, and I'm really impressed. If anybody has any additional questions about the BlackVue product line, this particular setup being the DR550GW 2-channel, PowerMagic Pro, or the DR500s that we offer, or the normal PowerMagics, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email, andrew@thedashcamstore.com. You can also leave a comment here on the video. One of our experts will get back to you. I do want to point out we have an installation photo gallery on our website. If you look at the resources section, customer installation photos, you can see an example installation of this exact setup in an accurate TL. And as always, drive safe.